run over cyclists on YouTube. Is that against terms and conditions? I'm not really sure. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking out my 2021 Lotus Evora GT and talking about what it's been like to daily drive this thing. If you guys aren't familiar with the Lotus Evora GT, this has a 3.5 liter Camry V6 with an Edelbrock supercharger on it. So the cold start won't sound crazy, but I promise you this car sounds amazing. Let's start off with the bad, just because I absolutely love this car. Obviously I'm biased, so let's be objective. For one, still a Lotus, even though the build quality is a lot better. My shifter, the console, the clips are definitely broken. That falls off every once in a while. This mirror is clearly falling off. There are screws under my parking brake, because that's where I leave them so they don't go anywhere. No idea where they came from, but at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter. One thing though that does bother me with daily driving, the car doesn't have a temp gauge, so it has that blue cold light, and I actually don't know what temp that goes off at, because I know a lot of other cars like McLarens, or more specifically Porsches, they're at 180, 190 when you're driving. The blue light goes off around 150, so it's not actually warm, is it? And you know the transmission fluid and stuff like that's definitely not warm. So I have to take it a little easier for 5 minutes, I'd say, just to make sure. And I have to wait 100% till I'm 100% positive the RPMs are down. Because normally with like a C8 Corvette or something, 100 degrees and revs are down, you know you can pull away, just drive slowly until it gets up to temp. With this, I really don't know, but I can guess, and that's slightly annoying, to be honest. I won't even say the good and the bad, let's just go with the amazing and the slightly annoying. So the amazing, I love this shifter. This shift knob is the best shift knob I've ever had in a manual car. It's so much fun, it's so rewarding to go through the gears. Of all people in this world, I was at a McLaren event, and now actually 2 different McLaren events with Bruno Senna. And both times, before I owned this car and after, he's like, you know this transmission's awful, right? And it's not like a manual Porsche. It's not just, you can't just go rapid fire into gear, out of gear. It takes a little bit of time for the revs to drop, especially first to second. And the shifter isn't as tight as a Porsche, but it's so much more rewarding because you actually have to think about what you're doing when you're shifting a little bit. I've owned the car now since June of last year. I've only been driving it really every day from June of last year to August of last year. And then this year, since May, I've been daily driving it. So I have like 6-7 months of daily driving experience. But even in that time, after a couple weeks, honestly, the shifter is easy to do. And it's just slightly more rewarding than a Porsche. I mean, my dad had a 911 Speedster as a manual. And it just goes into gear, goes into gear, goes into gear. The clutch is so light. I mean, a child could operate it. There's nothing wrong with that, and I'm sure it'd be really great on a racetrack. If I'm on a racetrack, I want a dual clutch anyways, even though I will track this car, actually. We'll talk about that later. But this shifter has better feel than any other I've ever driven. It's so satisfying to drive. This car comes on Michelin Sport Cup 2s. Great tires, but I daily drive this car. They're only really rated for 3,000 to 4,000 miles. I got like 8,800 miles out of my set, but they were pretty cooked and a little dangerous, to be honest. But they don't really work in the cold. I live in New York. They're like 2,200 bucks, and with my mileage I have to replace them every year. So like many Evora owners, or Evora GT owners I should say, because that's the only one that came with the Cup 2s, they go to Continental Extreme Contacts or Michelin PS4s. From what I heard, the Continentals have better steering feel than the Michelins. So I got the Continentals, they were cheaper anyways. The steering feels so much worse than the Cup 2s. I expected a small difference just because of the peak grip difference, but it's a massive difference. And now that I speak to people, some people say the PS4 is a better steering feel. I don't know. But for a daily living situation, these Continentals in my first week with them are great. The car rides really well. There's so much less road noise. To be honest, I'm a little psychotic, I think. I actually miss some of the road noise and some of the, well, I miss the steering feel a lot, but some of the just like, not crashing over bumps, because it's really good on solid bumps, but on like a smooth surface, you'd get this. I just thought that was how stiff the suspension was. Part of that was for sure the Cup 2s. It loses a little bit of that raw edge, but it actually turns into a much more comfortable daily driver for 99.9% of people. Since I sold my C8 Corvette, this is my only car. And it having Android Auto, this is probably a very Gen Z thing, but I need Android Auto. It's like part of my routine when I'm driving, just put it on. I'm not even going anywhere right now and I have it on. I don't know why. But this car has Android Auto. Spider RS, no Android Auto. McLaren Elva, no Android Auto. None of the McLarens have Android Auto. 4GT obviously doesn't have anything, but it's 2006. 458, no Android Auto. None of the cars have Android Auto except for this little kit car Lotus. Back to my point on the temperature, the blue light just went off, but it's only been 4 or 5 minutes of driving. I know the coolant temperature is probably not fully up to temp, so I'm not going to give you guys too much noise yet. but I know for sure the oil temperature is definitely not up to temp. So it's a little thing that I'm nitpicking, but for me it's just a little annoying. So I probably wait longer than I have to give it a little gas. So back to the amazing. Weirdly, this car has really good sound deadening. I didn't even realize this because I don't really drive with the windows down. My dad used to smoke. He literally started smoking in my car. I'm like, okay, I'm putting the windows down, obviously. And I realized how much louder this car is. So my car has a 3rd CADS lead, so I think this is pretty much how it came in Europe. But this is how quiet it is. There's no drone or anything, even at like 2,000 RPM. Put the windows down, you get a lot more noise. Just 4,500 and you get that noise. It's completely daily usable noise. It's not annoying, but when you really want to get on it, instantly it's there. And the throttle response of this car is probably the best of any car I've ever driven. I've driven a lot of NA cars. I've only probably driven 2 supercharged cars, but the throttle response on this is absolutely insane. Lotus just gets the real driver details perfect. Side note, I bought this car with about 4,800 miles. The owner had it probably 3 and a bit years. In my 6 months of driving it, I've put on about 4,100 miles. So drive your cars, guys. A lot of people prefer manuals. I've said this before, but for weekend driving, for spirited fun driving. For me, honestly, I prefer a DCT for that. When I'm driving like 750 around here, I absolutely love just flicking a paddle, throwing into a corner. The manual is so engaging on a daily basis, and this clutch, even a lot of people say it's heavy. I guess it is, but I mean, I learned on a Corvette Z7, which was a much heavier clutch, so to me, it doesn't really bother me. But it just gives you so much more feedback while you're driving. I literally just went to UPS yesterday. I sell shoes, and I literally just went to UPS yesterday and had the most fun drive. Just driving around at 30 miles an hour, shifting gears, getting some noise. I don't know what the hell is happening here, but that's interesting. But yeah, it just adds so much to your daily mundane drives. It makes boring drives into fun drives, and that's what a dual clutch can. Are you allowed to run over cyclists on YouTube? Is that against terms and conditions? I'm not really sure. I'm probably being sarcastic, but look at this road that they're about to come down, that I have to go back up, which normally is a really fun drive, but now I know there's cyclists. I'm not trying to kill anybody. Where exactly are they supposed to go? Why are they coming down here? Why is this their path? This happens every weekend? What? Then there's this guy. That's safe. Okay, so now the Lotus part of daily driving. The fun part. The 7,000 RPM. Deafening part. The average commute pretty freaking good. I will say these Continentals, they might not have that raw feel through the wheel, they might not have all that road noise, but they have a lot of grip. I mean, these are still being broken in, so that's not 10/10s, especially not for road I know that well, but they feel pretty good, I gotta be honest. Quick another sound clip, because yeah, why not? Honestly, when these are the roads you live on, it sounds stupid. I mean, this kind of is your daily commute. So I just don't see a better, it sounds crazy, but I don't see a better car for daily driving than this. I'm not at the age where I need back seats yet, don't have kids. Well, actually, I do have back seats, forgot that part. It works for the shoes better than humans, but this is a 2+2. I'm 6 foot, and if you move the front seat all the way up, I do fit in the back. Not sure who's driving, but I do fit in the back. So practical. Another thing I'll mention, some reviews of this car said the AC doesn't work in traffic, whatever. I've never had that issue, the AC blows perfectly cold. But the reason I'm thinking of this right now, I forgot yesterday was 50 degrees, today is 80 degrees almost. And I had the heat on. I was wondering why it was so hot in here. But yes, the AC and the heat both work extremely well. Unfortunately, experienced both this drive. Honestly, there's only 720 something of these Evora GTs, I think 727. Probably 400 and something are manuals. It's a really rare car. It's an experience you can't get from modern cars anymore. Is that a 911 Speedster? Is that a 991 Speedster? Is that a... How many 991 Speedsters were in this town? We had a black one, that's a Guards red one, and I saw a paint to sample blue one a couple weeks ago. Anyways, unlike that Speedster, this is a really well done manual car. The steering's amazing, unlike that Speedster. Steering's amazing, it's rare, it's the last of its kind. You're not gonna see a car with analog gauges like this anymore unless you're talking about a Gordon Murray, which is $3 million. You're not gonna see a car with analog gauges, analog suspension. There's no modes to this car. There's sport for the exhaust and throttle response, and that's about it. Race, turn, traction control off. It's a simple car. It's a manual car, 416 horsepower. It's not that light, 3,170 pounds. Still a great power to weight ratio. It's still a really quick car for, let's say, I paid less, but market's about 80, 85. Or if you have a Golf one, apparently 110,000 according to Brand Trailer. But it just checks all the boxes for fun. I get on paper to some people, you could get a Corvette, 490 horsepower. Trust me, I loved Corvettes. I love Corvettes. I loved my C8. I had 50,000 miles of great ownership experience. This is so much more special than anything else you can get at that price point. There's no Porsche you can buy for 70 grand that's half as good as this, first of all. Okay, I just kind of just said how much I paid. There's no Porsche you can get for 80 grand that's half as good as this, first of all. Second of all, there's no Porsche you can get for under 150 grand that's as special as this. Honestly, maybe even more. You need a 4RS or a Spider S or something like that, and I still find this to be a more special driving experience than that when I drive that. And I joked at the beginning about the screws coming off, and that's not a joke. I mean, they did. I have no idea where they came from, to be honest. I don't recognize any of them. This seat cover, oh, I just... I don't know if you guys saw that, but I just threw it across the car. That seat cover came off. I don't even see where it went missing on the passenger side, but I know from the part number looking it up, that's what that is. I don't even know where this stuff comes from. Everything still works. Maybe one of those screws was, oh, and actually the shifter just fell off. As I said that, the console for the shifter fell off. One moment. I will say the fit and finish might not be Porsche level, although I think it's just as solid, if not more solid, as a Porsche. This chassis is so solid and stiff and firm. It rides firm, but you hit a big bump, it is one solid piece of aluminum, and that's basically what it is if you look at the design of this car. It's an amazingly built car. Thank shout out David Mills. Even if they leave some clips cracked, some screws loose, whatever the hell adhesive holds up the mirror, it is a Lotus. Lots of trouble, usually serious. I wouldn't say that. I'd call it lots of trouble, usually BS. But it's just such a fun car, and I hope that comes through on camera. For a car that has to be sprung for the track, basically, because it's in one setting, but also for the road, it's honestly very compliant. It's probably one of the stiffer cars I've driven, but it doesn't just crash. I mean, like, there's a lot of cars that just crash that aren't even that stiff, like sports sedan, stuff like that. This kind of just checks all the boxes if you're a little stupid and want a sports car daily like me. I know there's other cars that are smarter dailies. Actually, pretty much probably everything's a smarter daily. But you still have that camera reliability, even if some of the other stuff is a little questionable. It's just the perfect package for me. Probably isn't for everybody. For sure, a bit of waffle in this one. I apologize, because this is my car, so the points I have on I can go on for 2 hours. Obviously, this isn't like a full in-depth review. I did a bit more of that when I first got the car last year. If you guys want an updated version of that, I could always do that. But I just want to talk about what makes me love this car, why I love driving it every day.